Welcome to the learning channel Let's Talk Procurement, our episode number 03. In this episode, we will look into the types of the procurement. So there are basically three types of procurement. The type number one is the direct procurement, second is indirect procurement, and third is service procurement. This is very important for the procurement officer to understand the concept of these three types. So accordingly, they will work in the organization and increase the profitability and reduce the cost of the product. Guys, let's understand these three types. First is the direct procurement. So what is a direct procurement? Direct procurement is directly involved in purchasing the raw material, goods or services which will directly affect on the company finished product. We could say that direct procurement is directly involved in the profitability of any organization, or it could make any loss in the organization. If we look into theoretical definition of the direct procurement involves in the direct purchases of raw goods, machinery, and wholesale product which will affect on the company finished product. This is called the direct procurement. Before going into the direct procurement, a procurement officer has to look into the need of the business or need of the production. According to the project, procurement officer will go and define the needs of the business, and he will source a product from different suppliers. So he will identify the suppliers, then he will send the request to the quotation to the suppliers so he can source the product at the lowest cost of ownership. Then he will place the order and he will receive the product and services after agreed term and condition and contract with the suppliers. So basically, the procurement officer will do all this necessary job to make sure that all the product has been sourced at the lowest cost and increase the profitability of the business. So if we look into the stakeholders in the direct procurement, who are the stakeholders in the direct procurement? Let's look into the stakeholders. It could be a procurement officer, definitely a logistic department, engineering department, account payable, who will provide the payment, and the engineering department will provide all the specification of the product, and the contracting suppliers who will make sure that all supply is smooth and there is no disruption in the supply. So procurement department is playing very important role to increase the profitability of the business. Let's look into the example that bakers, they are buying flour for making breads. So simply we need the machinery to install and supply. So these kind of things is related to the direct procurement process. So our second type is indirect procurement. Indirect procurement will help to process day-to-day activities, and this will not affect on the company finished product. Basically, indirect procurement, the procurement officer will source the product only to manage the day-to-day activity in the organization. On the small scale business, the company is basically doing the procurement from their end, but in the big companies or big organization which are limited, they are adding the facilities management who will help them to procure all the product which manage the daily activities in the organization. So for the better understanding of the indirect procurement process, let's look into the example that we need the stationery to finalize the day-to-day activity of the procurement officer. We need the cleaning stuff to clean the floor or the office's desk, or we need the computer to finalize the daily emails and communication with the suppliers. So this is basically indirect procurement which will not affect on the end product of the company or bottom line. So our third type is the service procurement. Compared to the other two types, service procurement is very simple and basic. What actually happening in the service procurement, the procurement department, they will outsource the machinery or outsource the software, or they will hire the temporary staff to finalize the project or finalize the production before the promised date. In this procurement, basically the procurement team is trying to reduce the cost. Instead of hiring the staff, they will hire the temporary staff who will finalize all their events or projects or seminars according to the company services or company license. So I hope guys you understand the difference between the three types: service procurement, indirect procurement, and the direct procurement. And keep watching this channel and you will learn more about the procurement. Don't be hesitant to ask any question or if you have any confusion in this chapter. Keep watching.